So I am so excited for this today because between 7 kids between them, over 800,000 Instagram followers, top rated podcast, where you've interviewed celebrities like Matthew McConaughey and Chelsea Handler, like no big deal whatsoever. Their mission has always been to bring women and moms together. And it started from like dinner parties to being you two on a billboard in Times Square. Cat and Nat, welcome to the show this morning.
That was the best intro I've ever heard. I don't even know who those two girls are right now, considering we are not showered, not barely dressed, and have kids all over the place and are stressing about the holiday shopping. So I love that you just took us out of that world for a minute and put us where we belong.
Did you just bring yourself back into it though? You're like, oh God, all those other things.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. I had texted Kat this morning because I'm home with a sick kid. And I said, if you started Christmas shopping, and she's like, not yet, but today could be the day. And I was like, keep me posted because you can't get started without me.
Like, keep you posted on what?
Well, also
what we're buying.
The sales, all the things you need to find, right? Does it still feel unreal? Okay, actually, let's back up a minute. For those who may not be 100% familiar in how things started for both of you, let me get this straight. Like, you were friends in school, you went to summer camp together, lost touch, and then had a baby, and you both had babies, and then like got back together.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
Yes, I love that.
Exactly right.
How did you?
I love that. I love I like that we went from summer camp to had a baby. I like that a lot. I went to summer camp, had a baby.
Listen,
yeah, exactly.
You learn things in summer camp, right?
You do.
Yeah. So how did things grow from that? Like you lost touch, you got back and into the friendship land, and then how did things grow into what they are today?
Beautiful Facebook. Can you believe it? Beautiful. Remember that thing? A lot of the younger listeners like, what? Yeah, Facebook message. We reconnected and had babies. And, honestly, we were just sharing conversations, and online was not a thing yet. It wasn't what it was. So we were doing in real life events. And then people were like, can you come to our city? And then we went online and we literally found platforms out of Germany that we could live stream kind of conversations and fun nights out. And now we go on tour and we have a podcast. I think we have 38 million downloads on our podcast. And we just share conversations that really other people aren't having, but thinking.
Yes. I remember listening to one of your podcasts, and it was all it's like one of my favorite topics ever. It was like things that people do in their bedroom but aren't talking about. And I was like, you were talking about the things friends talk about, but no one's putting out there because they're like, "Ooh, no, don't say it."
Yeah, I mean, people are saying a little bit more now, but then they weren't at all. So it was like we were like this confessional for all these people, all these moms and women just slipping into our DMs and just like telling all of their stories and saying like, I feel like you're the only people that won't judge me or that I can actually be honest with.
I think it's a really good point of what, because I follow, I love, even last night, I saw your post about, baking with your boys, and it brought tears to my eyes because a lot of the stuff you post is really funny, but some just like takes the wind out of your sails because it's so true and so real. And I got weepy reading that because my son and I actually had just finished baking bread together. And he said to me, he's like, Mommy, this was the best day ever. I want to bake with you again. I was like, okay, but it's these things that you bring out the realism of motherhood. You also make it okay to feel okay with some of our feelings that, others may have said, no, it's not okay to say that. Like, no, it's not okay to not be okay with mothering sometimes.
I think the pressure is so much on moms and women, and you can really get lost when you don't hear the conversation. And, even us who live messy and crazy, and I don't mean physically messy, but sometimes physically messy, but just sort of the mess in motherhood, you can compare so easily, even as adults, about how you're not doing it right and how everyone else, has matching outfits and is doing it right and doing this. And, I think it's just remembering that those moments are moments, not a life. So we try to remind people that, you can steal moments and have great moments. And that's what motherhood's about, is tiny moments, not these big, long, extravagant, like I said, that extravaganzas of times.
Does it still feel unreal that you two are best friends? You get to work together. You have this brand together, and your kids are also best friends, right?
Yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair. It's really, I mean, I feel when people, are just like, you really get to work together, you get to hang out, we vacation together. Like, you don't fight, and and I'm like, it's a dream. You get to work with your best friend every day. And a lot of your job is to just like have fun.
Yeah.
And then share the fun with other people. Like, our live shows is another thing where moms and women often don't feel like that they can take time out for themselves. So we throw these, these parties, live podcasts, and give people permission or a reason to come out. And they're like, a lot of people are like, I haven't been out in 5 years. I needed a reason.
My niece is one of those. She and I were talking. She was so excited when I told her I was going to be speaking with both of you. She's like, "Oh my God, I love them!" And she was like, "Are you seeing them in person?" I'm like, "We're going to go see them." And so she and I got tickets for coming to see you at the Queen Elizabeth Theater in December 9th. And she is like floored because she doesn't get that time to go out on her own all the time. And so I'm like, "Let's go." So
You're a good friend. You're a good aunt or a good, like,
Thanks.
that's a good friend too. You need people in your life to do that. And we're those people for everyone who doesn't have those people. People come alone, which is such a testament to our community, because I think that when you go and you have something in common, men come too, which is amazing because they often are open-minded and have so much fun. I just think that we get a bad rap as women, and we don't need to, because so often, we're so much stronger together, and we see it every day, and we're not terrible people to each other as women. We can be there for each other and be amazing together.
So your posts, your videos, things like that, like they obviously help us, your community, feel like we aren't alone. But how have they helped both of you in navigating motherhood and life?
Oh my gosh. Because we originally, people come from everywhere. So we were reading their messages and their DMs, and they're like thanking us. But then every time they share, it's like, no, you have no idea. Like, I needed to hear that from you. And then when we finally got to meet people in real life, and they're like, oh my gosh, I love you guys so much. We're like, we love you guys so much. Like, you have been in our community, and you can lean on people that you don't know in real life. And you can have conversations. They're all of our community, and like we have such a positive following. People are always like, how do you handle all the negatives? I was like, it's really not that much.
Yeah.
It's really not that much for us. So yeah, they're amazing.
How would you suggest? Because you have 7 kids between you. You have competitive dance. I saw your thing about hockey tournaments the other day. Like, how do you suggest people balance their life? Like, what are some tips you have?
You don't. You don't.
Oh my God, I have no idea.
We're in a really hard phase right now of motherhood where, thank God we work together, because I don't think we'd see each other as just friends right now, because our kids are in the phase where they are so busy, and you kind of need to be them in that phase, or apparently they like do terrible things as teenagers. So you need them to be kept busy. So we're in a phase of like driving, like it's like you're drinking from a fire hose. You're just like, oh, it's crazy. And then you just kind of realize it's a phase. Like, everything's a phase. It ends, you move on, and you don't stress that you're not balanced, and it's okay. You're going to be okay, not balanced.
One thing I've recently been forced to do, because I've got the 4 kids and doing all these things, and like, even if it's one kid, whatever, it's really hard to manage, is that I have to ask for help from other parents. And I don't know why people hesitate so much to do it, because if someone were to say to me, could you come pick up my kid, or could you drive him home, I would absolutely love to help if people were to ask more often. Not that
Except
I
you don't
personally have
drive.
much more time. But like this past weekend, I had to ask for help, and they were more than happy to do it. And sometimes it's from a friend, or it's a babysitter, or it's your parents, or someone else. But I think you can't possibly do it all, but don't feel guilty, and ask, and trust people will take care of your kids too.
Do you feel like some of the things you've learned and are implementing in the way you parent comes from, like, from my understanding, you're both from single moms, correct? Like, your moms are both single mothers. Do you think that a lot of the way that you are raising your children and living your life comes from the way your moms raised you?
Yep. Totally.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. I think that, I think we stress so much about everything, but if everyone just thinks back to their childhood, it's like how your mom made you feel, not the things they did, not the things they wore. It's not where they were. And, we have such a power to just smile. And my mom, no matter where we lived or what we didn't have, I just remember my mom being happy, like literally just joyful. And I think that that's the power in all of us, is to let our kids know that we enjoy them and we can be joyful with them. And I don't think there's anything else they need or need to have. That's all they need, is someone to make them feel like they're happy they're there.
Oof. Tears. Weepy. So kind of keeping in the feels for a minute, you two were both part of Sean Desmond's video, Love Me with the Lights On. And
yes,
this was a really amazing video, because it not only had women of influence and women who had a voice and were like, doing amazing things. It also was with the brand NYX, which is incredible. So why was it important for you two to be part of the video with Sean?
Well, firstly, he's been so amazing to us. He's been parts of our shows. He's such like an amazing person. And Joanna, the owner of Nick's, is also like just so everything she's done is so impressive. And to be a part of that group of women in that room filming that video was really magical. But also we got to bring our daughters who are 14, and they were on set for the whole day. And I would just like would stop and say to them, like, look at all these people, like all just like, you know, feeling confident in their own skin. We were all wearing like bras,
Nothing.
you know.
Yeah.
So it was just really special to be a part of it. But really, I loved having our daughters there to see it.
That's incredible. So I'll wrap things up because I know you have very busy lives, and I know the tour is going to be like out of this world. What is the number one thing you want? We'll put parents. We'll just say parents to know. Like, what is the number one thing you would like to pass along to parents who, because it's every day we're like riddled with guilt about something. So what is some pieces, like some advice?
I think we said it earlier. It's just like I think you need to stop being who you think you need to be for them and start being who you are for them, because ultimately they would never change you. They don't want anyone different. And I think that we're so hard on ourselves, and we think we should be this or that or get that. And it's not what they want. Time and time again, your kids would choose you just the way you are. So stop chasing who you're not and live who you are. And that's the best lesson you can teach any of them or all of them is you be you, and you love them and they love you, and drop everything else. Drop the guilt and just freaking live.
And make sure to carve out, even though life seems like so crazy and busy, carve out time for you to have fun. Because when we laugh and we have fun, it can fill your buckets, and it's what you need, because your happiness matters too.
Thank you for always being authentic, because I think what you two do in being authentically you and being, you know, #MomTruths, showing up exactly as you are, has us relating to you. And because of that, so many of us feel like we are supported and seen in whatever we are going through. So thank you for that. And thank you for making time for us today. Cat Nat, your podcast, Cat Nat Unfiltered, top rated. Listen to it. It's hilarious. And like some of the things,
some of the things, earmuffs. You need earmuffs or headphones.
No, you need to turn it up and be like, what? This is crazy.
Okay, not with the kids. Not with the kids.
It's unfiltered. Okay. Let's be very clear about that. Your book, Cat Nat Mom Secrets, is out. And of course, live December 2, remember, December 9th, Queen Elizabeth Theater. Tickets are on sale now. They are almost sold out. So get them. Cat Nat, thank you for all that you do. And thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you.
And Puppy.